I think everybody will agree that life has changed dramatically in the last 20 years. And it used to be in the 70s and before, well, let's just say the 90s, before the 90s. You could come home after working all week and your plan was to go camping. And Friday evening, you're all packed up and you head out the door and you just tell your wife or whoever's in your house, hey, I'll see you Monday. And they would not hear from you or know where you were until Monday morning when you returned home. Well, life isn't like that anymore. People know where you are at any given moment. And I don't like that. Now, I don't really have this issue because I live alone. The only ones I would tell that I was going somewhere would be my dogs or now my cats. Yes, I have cats now. But anyway, as kids growing up in the 70s and part of the 80s, we would just go out during the summer. We'd go out in the morning and go do our thing, and our parents had no clue where we were most of the time. We would tell them when they would ask, "Where are you going?" "Oh, I'm going over to my friend's house." Okay, that was it. And once you got to your friend's house, well, we would all disperse at various parts of the town, and we didn't even know where we were going half the time. That was the freedom that we used to have. And I think my generation was the last generation to really have that full freedom of being able to disappear and not be tracked. Now, when somebody leaves, same situation, you're going to go camping. Maybe it's 2 hours away. Well, it probably isn't 10 minutes later. You're stopping at the world's largest ball of twine. And you got your cell phone and you might take a little short video. Here's the world's largest ball of twine. Hey, listen to that sound that thing makes in the wind. It's crazy. You got a whole list of people you're going to send that video of the world's largest ball of twine to. It's going to hit your Facebook. It might even hit your YouTube if you have YouTube. Your wife or whoever's at your house is going to get that, and they're going to go, "He's at the world's largest ball of twine. We know where he is." You've just given away your location and your direction of travel because they all know where the world's largest ball of twine is located. Half hour later, you stop at the world's largest frying pan. Make another video, same thing. Also, now you can be tracked by your cell phone, GPS coordinates. People know where you're at any given time. It may be people that you don't even know who they are. People in China might know where you're at all times, and you don't even know it. So disappearing these days, the only way you can really do this is to get somewhere so far out there, maybe out in the middle of the desert or high in the mountains or under the ocean, where you don't have a trackable signal. But the newer generations and even people my own age have now had a routine in their life where they've got to update everybody where they're at, what they're doing, why they're doing it, and how long they're going to be doing it. You used to see that on Facebook all the time. People are taking pictures of their food. Well, they're at Stuckey's because there's their food. And they're happy to tell you where they are. Just in case, you might be in the area, you can have Stuckey's with them. I guess that's why. But social media has changed everything when it comes to disappearing. You really can't do it anymore. And if you have a newer vehicle, they really know where you're at. Because your vehicle is a Tattletale. It's going to tell you where you're at. It has the GPS. It has all that. You got your Sirius radio in there. And, you're a computer on wheels. And it has changed life. It really has. Now, I think a lot of people in my generation, we still have the intelligence. We know how to disappear if we want to. We can just leave this dude at home. There's many times though I've left my house and I forgot this, and it's almost like you've committed the ultimate sin, and you contemplate turning around and getting your phone because, well, you might have an emergency. Man, we used to have emergencies all the time. We used to break down all the time in the old jalopy 70s cars and 80s cars, and we never had a cell phone. You had to rely on somebody to stop, which people still do once in a while, not as much. Or you had to find a payphone. Payphones are things we no longer have. You'd be pressed to find one, but they would hang on most businesses' walls. Convenience store, every convenience store had them. There would be phone booths. I used to love going into a phone booth with a roll of quarters and calling my grandmother long distance. And you wouldn't get to talk long because it was very expensive. But everybody that is old enough to remember phone booths knows that, man, they were pretty cool, and, well, we kind of miss them. I was trying to think yesterday the last time I ever used a payphone. And it was probably in 2007. I had lost my cell phone and I had to go into Walgreens to buy a new one. Well, setting up the cell phone at that time, you had to call them. And I also had to call them. I don't know who I was with, AT&T or whatever service provider I had. But I had to get all that stuff that was on my old phone put onto the new phone. And that was the last time I think I recall using a payphone. And it was not a fun experience. And it was one of the last payphones. Probably not one of the last, but it was during that time where they were starting to disappear. Now, so many things are used to track us these days that we don't even realize. Now they have flock cameras. Okay. In some ways, these flock cameras, there could be the argument that they're good. If you have a relative that maybe has Alzheimer's and they get in the car and they take off, well, the flock cameras apparently can help track these people. But they also have another ominous use, and that's tracking everybody else. They know where I guess if you're a murderer or something and you committed a crime or you're accused of a crime that you did not commit, maybe they could save your butt. But we've lived so many decades without all of these electronic surveillance devices, and everybody was just fine. And now they're everywhere. You go to any city and you look on any business or just anywhere on wherever there is a stoplight or a stop sign, and you look around, there's going to be a camera. Vehicles have cameras. My car or my truck knows if I am getting too close, if I have it on cruise control and I get too close to the vehicle ahead of me, my damn car hits the brakes. It's annoying. It's annoying, and I haven't learned how to turn all these gadgets off yet. And if you kind of veer off to the lane, out of your lane a little bit, or go over center a little bit, it jerks you back. That's one I really hate, because I can see where that can be dangerous. Maybe there's a reason I'm going left to center or off to the side. Maybe there's an animal in my way, and I don't want my car or my truck jerking me back into the path of that. I don't know if it would. But they have cameras, and they have cameras in the back. They have sensors and cameras in the front. And who knows what else. And your insurance company, there's a little box, I believe, in your vehicle now that can be accessed that is like a little black box in a plane. It will tell them all kinds of information, how fast you were going, when you were doing it. So a lot of our privacy, when it comes to our daily life, has been lost. And the sad thing is, we're never going to be able to do anything about it. Now, a lot of these stores like Walmart and some of these big box stores, they're running this facial recognition software. So if you've shoplifted, you come back in the store, they're going to know it. And it's just amazing that everywhere you go has technology like this, and it's only going to get worse. Now, the way I see things, as for me, I know I'm not doing anything wrong, so I don't really worry, but those things make mistakes. How long is it going to be before it accuses me of shoplifting when I was just simply in there shopping? Or it accuses me of being somebody who was previously kicked out of there for shoplifting. Which reminds me, I had an incident. Now, listen to this. I lived in Las Vegas for a few years, and I worked for the Las Vegas Review Journal, which is the newspaper in Las Vegas. And a couple times a week, we would get off 2, 3 in the morning, and Vegas is open 24 hours. And I would take maybe $20 and I would go to one of these off the strip casinos, and I would go up and play nickels. I'd play the nickel machines. Because, you get off work 2 or 3 in the morning, you want to wind down. You don't want to go home and go right to bed. That would be what upstanding people would do. And I wouldn't do it. I'd go in there and spend the $20, play the nickel machines, and get some free beer. It used to be free. Yeah. Even at the nickel machines. And I think I went to Showboat. It was the Showboat Casino, which I would go in there several times a month. I was kind of a regular. I didn't go, there was a few that I would go to. And I'm sitting in a nickel machine, and it's probably 3:30 in the morning. I'm in my work uniform. My Las Vegas Review Journal work uniform. And all of a sudden, I see 2 security guards, the casino security, they wear the suits. I see them approaching me, and there's not very many people in this casino at this time of the morning. And one of them comes up on one side of me, one of them comes up on the other. I'm like, what the hell? Did I hit a jackpot or something? What's going on here? And the one of them looks down at me and says, "Sir, you need to get up. You need to leave. You've been asked to leave before, and you need to leave now, or we're going to physically remove you." And I'm like, "What do you mean I was asked to leave before?" He said, "You were in here 4 or 5 hours ago, and you were causing trouble, and we banned you from the property." I said, "Look, dude, I just got off work. Here's my work uniform. Do you want to smell the ink on my skin?" I was at work. They had misidentified me from, the eye in the sky. Apparently, somebody was in there. Don't know if he had the same work uniform on, but he looked like me. And they were going to kick me out. And, well, I ended up getting a nice comp out of that. But it wasn't me. They misidentified me. And that was back in 94. Probably 94, 95 was when I was there. So if it happened back then, when cameras sucked, it could really happen nowadays. And it's only a matter of time before these flock cameras and a lot of this electronics is going to start causing trouble. It may never happen to you, but it only needs to happen one time. How would you feel if you were at home and the police kicked in your door and some flock camera had tracked you to your home and you resembled some suspect they were looking for? These are the kind of things I'm worried about. And who knows what technologies the vehicles have that we don't know about. Now, I do have an older truck that I am not getting rid of. I just sold an even older truck, but I'm not going to drive something with no air conditioning and something I can't rely on. So I figured, why keep it? Now, as I said, I lead I'm an upstanding citizen. I don't commit crimes. But there are the opportunities now that you could be accused of something wrong. But going back to the original message is, we can't disappear anymore. And a lot of it is our own fault because we feel the need to let the world know where we are, what we're doing. And younger people, this is the life that they grew up in. They don't know any better. They think it is normal to text all your friends when you're going somewhere, or to drive down the road. I was driving next to a lady yesterday, probably in her mid 20s, that was texting while she was driving, which is even more dangerous than drunk driving. She was all over the road. She could not maintain a speed, and she was driving in the fast lane and would not get over. And that is against the law in my state. You only use the left lane for passing. She didn't care. And right on her steering wheel, I looked over as she got side, as I was passing her from the slow lane, there she is. The phone's right there on the steering wheel, got both thumbs going 100 miles an hour. The car's going from side to side. When you see that now, it's somebody texting usually. It's not a drunk driver. When we seen that 20 years ago, they've been drinking, and they're still drunk drivers on the road. But I will guarantee you, most of the cases today, it's people texting because they got to tell people where they're at. When I was a kid, if somebody wanted to see you, or you walked to their house, or you got on your bike and you went there. If the phone was busy, you just went there. And today there's no busy signal anymore. You can text somebody, you can call somebody. When's the last time you've heard a busy signal? Well, call a government agency. They still have the busy signals. You try to get something fixed with the IRS or Social Security, you'll get a busy signal there every time. Well, life as we used to know it is gone. It's never going to come back. And man, I buy into a lot of these gadgets, and we all do. Some of them make our lives a lot easier, but at what cost? So thanks for watching. See you on the next one. Happy trail.